Hi there, class. I wanted to give you some of the anecdotes that would have gone along with week four's content. So the first one has to do with supply chains. There was a ship, some of you may remember it back in March 2021, called the Ever Given. And it was a ship that was part of global supply chains. And it got stuck in the Suez Canal. And it disrupted global commerce for quite some time until they managed to get it unstuck from the canal because it blocked all of the other ships that were trying to go through the canal. And it just demonstrates the kind of ripple effects there are in global trade when there is a small disruption. That is one of the real challenges that goes along with supply chains. A second topic would go along with, second story would go along with externalities. So there was an English economist named Arthur Cecil Pigou, and Arthur Cecil Pigou came up with the concept called Pigovian taxes, or they were taxes, but it was named after him, so they're Pigovian taxes. And the goal of a Pigovian tax is to internalize the externalities. So if there is some sort of harmful externality, you make it more expensive so that that externality is taken into the cost of taking that activity. Or there can also be positive externalities that go along with it, in which case there would be a Pigovian subsidy. So, for example, you might pay people to get a flu shot because that improves public health, and therefore that's something that will that has some positive externalities that you'd like to support. The third story has to do with value systems. And the point I want to make here is that one of the things I'd like you to do with this in this class is interrogate your own value system and make it explicit. Try to think out what matters to you and why, and how can you live your life in a way that is aligned with your value system. And so in this class, there will be various different opportunities to think about, what is it that matters to me? That was the case for the SDG video in week 2. And so I encourage you to give some thought to the question of what is your value system, what matters to you, and how can you live your life in a way that is aligned with that? And so finally, with regard to advertising, the story that I'd like to tell is about how advertising was used by corporations to shift responsibility from them onto individuals. So there is a sense, at least in US industrial society, that people are responsible for living more sustainably, that we should use fewer plastic bags or fewer straws, or we should recycle, and that we should affect the market through our purchases. And while that is certainly the case, there are aspects in which human choices, individual human choices, make a difference in the sustainability front. A huge chunk of the issue in sustainability arises in structural and systemic concerns. And this is something we've touched on in a variety of different topics so far. But I just wanted to reiterate it, the notion that advertising has been used to shift responsibilities from corporations onto individuals. So that's the set of stories for week 4. Hope you're all doing well. Bye-bye.